Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Members of the press and those who read this press advisory, thank you for coming. My name is John Bowen Brown II. I am an autistic human rights activist. I've been involved in various human rights campaigns throughout the years. Some of these include lobbying pursuits for the Matthew Shepard Act with the Human Rights Campaign, and presenting academic research in the US and Europe with the academic organization Chestnut. I live with my wife of 18 years, and I currently work with older adults with autism. I live in Tucson with my wife. If anybody watching this blog briefing has autism or a relative with autism, I recommend the ARC in your city or state. It is spelled A-R-C, like an arc of electricity. Sibling domestic violence is a nightmarish ordeal to experience. Sibling domestic violence is even worse when you're an autistic, because autistics already have potentially a minutiae of effects from the outside world that could potentially affect their autism throughout the lifespan. My family life before 13 was like Kramer versus Kramer meets the wicked stepmother. It was horrible. I have PTSD in part because of it. Excuse me. The worst of it was my brother Jason and my stepmother. When I was 12 years old, my stepmother, who is also the former, it's called the VFW, Auxiliary Women's President. My stepmother, who also is in that organization, Robin Reinhardt in Ava, Missouri, tried to rape me when I was 12 years old. When I was 42, she harassed me again. I stayed away till 2018. She sought me out. She tried to convince me to go with her into her backyard to see something back there. Very vaguely worded, I did not go. I believe she was going to have me assaulted back there. I have no reason to trust her otherwise. I mean, she's never been anything but nasty to me. So why would I believe her? I could have played it out, but I believe she was going to have me assaulted, like I said, and I know where her morals are placed. She deserves no award. As a child, there was an injunction placed on her for other abuses. Years later, when I told my stepsister, Ava business owner and Ava school district board candidate, Anna Gamboa, that her mom tried to rape me, she banned me from Facebook. Jason, my brother, has committed domestic violence against his own mother and me. Jason would create elaborate schemes against me, one of which was he actually joined the Wiccan religion to spite me. He argued with me in the house and caused fights with everybody else because we were all mortals. He eventually got exiled from the house. He has the current full support of Ava's school board candidate, Anna Gamboa. The reason why I know this is she's told us so. My brother's domestic violence has resulted in recently in meeting with an attorney. That resulted in him allegedly getting kicked out of the National Guard. I know a letter was sent to his base commander, so possible. I have not seen papers. Anna Gamboa and her husband even suggested that I do nothing about Jason's civil harassment and domestic abuse. Now something I'm going to mention kind of goes to the heart of my autism. And it's something that Rob trying to do. It's not on the same level as what Jason is doing, but to do this to an autistic person, especially one who might have a skill or of a different skill set than I do, Rob should even be doing this kind of behavior. He bothered me about being a nerd because I like astronomy. Why don't you know this? Why don't you know that? Well, it's not astronomy. I'm going to actually answer why. It's because I'm not a nerd. I'm autistic, you dumb truck. Autistics have what are called a narrow sphere of interests. Autistics are not the Sheldon Coopers on the Big Bang Theory. They are actually the exact opposite. They will never be generalists in anything. Now, for an adult response to Rob's juvenile behavior that was encouraged by Jason, I will say this, that Rob is nothing more than a high school bully. Not a very smart one, in fact. Him and Anna have actually, or do actually believe, flour does not come from wheat because of these diet books they're reading. They've argued it with me the last time I saw them. They almost had me convinced they were so pushy. I almost called the University of Arizona in Tucson. Being that I'm autistic, the trip was so bad that it caused an autistic meltdown in the car as we left Ava. I almost ran out of the car into the highway. It was such a horrible trip. What is a meltdown? A meltdown is an emotional reaction to stress that an autistic person has when he or she becomes overwhelmed. Not every autistic person have meltdowns. For me, I have some really bizarre idiosyncrasies. For one, I can't mix my emotions with my reason at the same time. I can only be totally rational, totally emotional at the same time. At one time. And that creates kind of a bittersweet, what's the word I'm looking for? A bittersweet ability. It can create a very good computer, a rational person, or an emotional wreck. That day when we were leaving Ava, I was an emotional wreck. I had a meltdown. I almost ran out of the car onto the highway. Since then, Jason has committed domestic violence against his own mother and against me. I'm going to state something that Jason said. It is a cuss word. It is R-rated. If your kids are listening about sibling domestic violence, turn the volume down for 1 second. Jason called his own mother a cunt. And then impersonated an attorney to me and have all the text for that to prove that. This is what the kind of domestic violence we get from this person. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Something else I want to bring up. When I was 13, Dad and Robin tried to kidnap Jason and I. Jason and I saw them drive down our street, and we ran in the house. This is the type of behavior that I and Jason have had to deal with throughout our lives. This and others that display such behavior must be fought with legal tools that do not necessarily involve litigation. All this needs to be enacted where the law has failed some by inaction or by taking the wrong person to jail, and for like cases of what is called reactive abuse. I'm announcing the Autism Domestic Violence Crisis Project for autistics and others that are experiencing extreme malicious domestic abuse from family or peers. I will start doing my part with a donation to the ARC of Tucson and the Wingspan Anti-Violence Crisis line within a month. Please donate to the ARC in your local area or your local domestic violence organization. The Reinhardts, the Gamboas, and the Browns should never be in directorial, executive, or political positions. They are enabling a very dangerous person to run without accountability. There will be more information to come on this program in the future. But before I leave, I'm going to read something here. Obviously, those that are in opposition to me are going to respond. Because right now they think it's just me and my mother that are going to talk about this, because pretty much everybody else has passed away except for people. But there is one person alive, a third witness that can testify to Jason's domestic violence. And I will now read that letter from Jason's ex-wife. First of all, anybody's name that appears in this letter that is not Jason or Laura, I will just call it name. Because it's the fact their names are actually irrelevant to the letter. So I would just call them name. Of course, Jason will be called Jason and Laura will be called Laura. Start reading. Thank you for giving me the courage to beg Glenn name for forgiveness. I have two friends I will always treasure, always. Also, thank you for my career. I love it. Thank you for my baby, my little girl, my Morgan, who you will never fucking see again. Remember, you dumped her and let her and me starve since we lived here. If you really loved me, you would have been there through my whole surgery. That was a horrible. Before I continue, I'm going to let you know this is R-rated. I may have already read some R-rated words, but this is R-rated. I want to apologize. If you have children watching, you haven't removed them yet, and you do, please do if you want to. Continue reading. Find the space I was at. You will never fucking see again. Remember, you dumped her and let her and me starve since we lived here. If you really loved me, you would have been there through my whole surgery. That was horrible, shitty thing to do. I fucking cried for you, you bald-headed, no can't use a toothbrush, little fucking narrow-minded prick. I cried myself to sleep in the hospital, hoping you would come. But you fucked me over and over again. Thank you for leading me on and finally into this living hell you helped me make. The one I fell into, in love with, would have never done this to me. I hoped and prayed my Jason would have come back and killed this monster in my husband's body. But now I know my little pain in the butt is truly and truly dead. But to let you know, I will always and forever love my husband, Jason, my little pain in the butt, whatever he may be locked up in the body of a monster, the asshole, the lying, cheating little bastard that is walking around wearing my dear baby husband's face. If you can't understand any of this, Name can explain it. Name knows what I'm trying to say. Here's your fucking money. Hope you choke on it. And every other payment I make, you will be paid off. I promise you that. There's also every memory of the dear sweet love of my life I married. So willingly, I tried. I know I did. I did everything you told me to do in the last month. Hair, people, attitude, going out, everywhere with you, even out with you right after my surgery to throw up in the bushes next to a church. Not letting on how bad it hurt, how I almost passed out, all because I loved you and wanted to please you just because, just like a puppy. Only to have you utterly break my heart with your fucked comment about love and kids. You took away the thing I wanted most, another baby, and someone to love us. I will probably never have that chance at kids. In closing, thank you for ruining my chance for happiness. Hope you're real proud of yourself, your ex-wife and daughter. I'm real sorry I had to do this, but this person just won't leave me alone, and he's going from person to person, almost like he's creating groups against other groups and groups against me and so forth. I just want to go on with life. Sibling domestic violence must stop, and those who keep circumventing the law must be dealt with alternative but legal methods. Thank you.